Mentally or physically, success can be defined as getting up one more time after we've been knocked down over and over and over again. I'm T.Wood, and this is Triumphant Moments, where I highlight significant moments in life that are far beyond the surface to inform, encourage, and inspire people to triumph over their life's challenges. With me today, I have Nathaniel Logan Jr., who is from Charleston, South Carolina. He holds the degrees in computer science from the Citadel Military College of South Carolina and information systems from Webster University. He is also a former Air Force officer that started his career overseas in the Pacific. Nathaniel is an IT professional with 25 years experience and was in the class of 2018 Leadership Maryland, the #1 leadership program in the state. He is the founder and director of Uplift Baltimore Incorporated, a youth and young adult service organization. He is married with 2 lovely kids. Nathaniel, my brother, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for that great introduction. It's very flattering. I'm just thrilled to be here, and have this opportunity to talk to you and all the followers that are out there.
Oh, man, it's awesome to have you. And we appreciate you taking our time to even be here on the show to help encourage some folks. Appreciate it. Yeah. And jumping back, just kind of jumping into it, is there a certain, a regimen that you go through Monday through Friday? They consider that the weekday, I guess, but is there a certain regimen that you go through in the mornings, that you prep yourself? Is it push-ups, sit-ups, coffee, tea, prayer?
Yeah, so it varies, right? It just varies. It depends on what the day before, what happened the day before, but usually it involves, getting up with prayer. I try my best to, always give the Lord his just due. At times, sometimes we don't always do that, but, in those moments where you really need him, we get on our knees and we pray. We give thanks for, him allowing us to open our eyes. We give thanks for the experiences of the prior day and of course, what's to come. So I am a coffee drinker. Yeah, I do drink coffee every morning. I'm guilty. I've tried to kick the habit and I've failed, but yeah, I do drink coffee every morning. And because of COVID, I work remotely. So I work remotely, and usually it's getting up, getting myself settled in for the day, logging on the computer, seeing what's there. I try to walk, during the lunch hour when I can, if I'm not busy, or that's the time I actually look to see what's going on with some other things I have, with the nonprofit, et cetera. So my kids, my daughter's grown, so she kind of manages herself. And my son's, he's being managed as far as going to high school. He's a high schooler now, so he doesn't want too much. He don't want too much help. So yeah.
Hey, blessing. That's a blessing. Yes. Look, how, in shifting gears here, how would you describe growing up in Charleston, South Carolina? Yeah, they call it the Chuck sometimes. I think that's the unofficial nickname, but how would you describe growing up in Charleston, South Carolina? Siblings?
Yeah. So I come from there were 3 boys in the house. We were all about 5 years apart. So we kind of had our own lives. We had our own, we had our own set of friends. We weren't in schools at the same time. So it was, we kind of, with our parents, they're kind of old school people. So, we were they were the parents. My dad kind of was the man of the house. My mom there was a supportive wife and nurturing mom. But we all kind of had our own separate relationship, kind of with them. One thing I always tell people, I say, I wish I had a little bit more with my siblings, is the fact that because our age differences, we really didn't do things together. We kind of always had our own, we always had our own friends. My brother had his friends. He didn't want his kid brother kind of hanging out with him all the time. And I didn't want my kid brother hanging out with me all the time. So that dynamic, but we had a big family, a lot of cousins. family events. We had grandma, the grandma house we would visit. No holiday went without love. No holiday went without fellowship and festivities. And of course, as we were there, my parents did a good job of teaching us spirituality and teaching us about Christ. So we did go to church. My parents have been a member of that church probably for 50, 60 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So since my dad was a kid and he was in the 70s, so I think they just started to venture out to another church. But other than that, it's a very conservative town. Rich in culture, African American culture, but it's very conservative. Everybody knows everyone, and I always say it takes you about 7 minutes to get anywhere. So yeah.
Hey. See, that's that. I'm from Gainesville, Florida, and there are times that you know it, and we sit out there and we can sit on the porch, and you pretty much, even if you didn't know the person, it was a hey, and you just kind of rolling by. It was that kind of community. Was it that kind? Somebody rolled by, it was a wave.
Oh yeah. The houses are right next to each other.
Right.
Right. Yeah, the houses are right next to each other. It was that you hear it all the time. If you did something, everybody knew. And if you did something bad, yeah, everybody held you accountable. So yeah.
Speaking of holding them accountable, was there anything as far as your folks? Was it mom and dad, or did they have a different style of kind of keeping you in line when things, I'm not to say that you were the perfect kid. You never caused no problem, right?
Like I said, I'm being a dad now. I give them all the credit in the world, man. With 3 boys, I have an elder sibling, and she's the oldest of us, but she didn't grow up with us. But I tell you, I really, really am grateful for the patience my parents had with me. I always kind of did my work, my schoolwork and whatnot. But yeah, me and my brothers, we were some rascals per se. My dad was no nonsense, and we paid for it. He let us know.
I tell you what, in shifting gears here, how would you describe your experience at the Citadel? How would you describe your college experience there?
Yeah. So the Citadel, to me, okay, so I didn't know anything about, military life. I had an uncle that was in the military. You always see the pomp and circumstance, you see the uniform. But the unique thing about the Citadel for me, and what I always value, is the fact that I grew up maybe on the other side of a park from that school. I always see the cadets walk around town. I thought it was kind of funny. Their uniforms looked funny. And my high school was right next to it. I went to Burke High School, go Bulldogs. And it was right next to it. And then when that opportunity presented itself, when I went into those gates, I realized I was in a completely different world. I could have been in Zimbabwe and not know it, because the Citadel was so structured. We were so confined and so regimented. It was so new to me, that I had to learn how to be a military person. And then even with my academics, I had to really teach myself how to study and still meet the rigors of the schedule that we kept, especially as freshmen. There was no time. And then I just decided to get I heard, computers are going to be the wave of the future. So I decided to get this computer science degree. And, it was a struggle. It was 20 hours of credit every year. I think I had like 60 in my first semester. And then after that, it was always 20 plus hours of credit until I graduated. So it was very regimented. There were successes, there were failures. And I give it all the glory to God for getting me through. I'm grateful for the degree. It's definitely a testimony to have that. But man, it was some serious soul searching, some serious work. And I'm just grateful for it. I shouldn't say this, but in order for me to study, I would miss an easy class, and we got these things called confinements, right? So when you miss a class, you got confined to your room for the weekend. So I would miss a class like music or something like that. Yeah, just to be confined to the school for the weekend. So I forced myself to study. That's the Citadel. And that's how I go about things.
Now that's some good ingenuity. Look here. I tell you what, You and just looking at it, would you say, matter of fact, do you still have some of the same friends from college?
Oh yeah, I do. Oh yeah, certainly. We there are about there 4 or 5 of us. We call ourselves the Four Horsemen because we were all from the Charleston County area. We went to Baptist Hill. Kevin Smith went to Baptist Hill. Antonio Smith went to K and Hoy. Reggie Bryant went to St. Andrews. There's also Stanley Myers. He's from Swansea, South Carolina. We all still talk. We all still chat. As a matter of fact, I'm going to see them in November. Reggie and I are really good friends. I mean, really good friends. We've worked together. We've had our ups and downs, but we are true brothers. We definitely always say, our bond at the Citadel is something that'll never break, no matter what happens. So, yeah.
I love hearing that, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you take a step back and then take a look at a different portion of your life, and I'm speaking in terms of, is it safe to assume, the work you did overseas, you worked overseas, and, did that ever shift your perspective or outlook on life in general, just working overseas?
Oh, yes, certainly the culture. I also realized, how confined and how conservative Charleston was. And then that went to even America. I was like, man, overseas life is so differently, and then also, I've also looking at myself as an African-American male dealing with some of the things that, we back in America had to deal with, how I was viewed differently overseas. I just felt more comfortable. I felt more respected. I felt, more inclusive. So, wow. So I was like, okay, that was true growth for me. That was, an eye-opening experience, even though it was the specific. I was in Korea. It was still, something that was good and rewarding. I actually encourage kids. I was like, get out of your hometown, not because, the people don't love you there, but you need to grow. You need to see things, and let that be something that's constant in your life. Always grow, always look for opportunities for you to better yourselves. Good, bad. I have a church brother that says that there are no good experiences or bad experiences, just experiences. And I'm a living testimony for that. Yeah.
Come on, brother. Mm-hmm. You know what you mentioned, and just taking a step back and thinking about Charleston again, during the time of the killings within, I believe it was Emmanuel.
Yeah. Emmanuel AME Church. Yes.
Yes. I didn't hear you mention attending that church, but did you have any relatives? Because I know how tight-knit the community can be. So maybe indirectly, were you affected by that?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. Classmates from high school, middle school. The woman that survived that, when Felicia told the story about how she had to smother her granddaughter, she was a beautician right in my neighborhood. She's cut my hair before, that just, her sister and her sister's daughter and I, are good friends and classmates through high school. It was just something that was just gut wrenching and hit me to the core, just to see, to know that was people that I know. When I went home for my 25th high school reunion, talking to them, and it's something that they'll never get over. Something I think the city will never get over. We'll move forward, but oh yeah, it was you couldn't believe it, at this day and time. Right. But it's this day and time, so you gotta just nothing's ever guaranteed, but it definitely brought light to an ugly and horrible reality that's America when it comes to Black people.
And just in relation to what you just said and where we are right now, as long as, we're blessed with the opportunity to get up in the morning, to even open our eyes, to breathe, it's an opportunity to live. And with living, you're going to experience some ups and downs also. You're going to run through some challenges. With that said, can you take a second to think back to any moment in your life that may stand out, that you either thought was challenging and you found a way to overcome it, or you faced it and you found a way to cope with it and still press on in life?
Yes, several. The big one is the murder, or not the slaying of my brother. Corey dying. I had just had a son. He had just met him in March. July, I got a call from my mom. I had 23 missed calls, and and I knew something was wrong. And I picked that up, and that was one of the largest gut wrenching punches I had to take, from knowing that when my mom said, "You need to come home because your brother only has a couple of days to live," all that's there, and his life wasn't, he lived a hard life per se, but he was a great person. He had a big heart. And, you never think, and you didn't think he deserved it. And the details were he was, trying to help someone in a situation and ended up getting himself, injured. So really bad, fatally. So that was one, trying to move forward and get past that. I just so many other things, but
you found a way to press past that. I mean, you're here now, and you're helping out the youth on many different levels.
Yeah.
So what would you say was a key ingredient for you to press past that, to find a way to cope with that? Because people tend to think that at the time goes by, oh, it's Danny, everything's cool. No, you have moments to where you still think about that moment. So how did you press past that? How did you continue?
Yeah. The biggest thing is really trying to, stay involved and stay close to youth and young adults, working with children, helping them. My daughter was a basketball player, so doing my best to, try to keep them and encourage and help them as much as I can. How teaching them, talking to them about value in life, talk to them about, not getting involved in things that, can be detrimental to your livelihood, to your family, trying to be a positive person. My biggest thing too also is me, even with my struggles and things that I've had to do, just trying to, stay faithful enough, stay strong enough to be an example for the kids. They kind of shine, they kind of keep my fire lit when it comes to, helping just moving forward, letting them know that, the situations that they're faced with is not the end of the world. Wow. you can move forward through these things. That situation happened. I actually, and I hate to divert, but I, for the last month, have been teaching a Bible study, and I have a series called The Simplicity in Jesus to Christ. And we talk about these things. We talk about loss. We talk about pain. We talk about perseverance. And last week we talked about grace and understanding that, there's still a whole lot of moving forward and loss and pain and the things that we are dealt with. They're opportunities. They're opportunities for us to grow. I've had loss in my life. As recently, I've had some loss. I've had pain. It was painful to lose my brother. It's painful sometimes with the relationship with my wife, my kids, and things like that. But there was opportunities to grow, and the best way to grow is to grow in Christ. I believe Jesus has done everything that we can possibly do in this world. It's that simple. I believe that He's done everything that you could do. There's nothing greater you can do than what He did for us. So understand that when you deal with these hard situations, lean on Him, and He'll open your eyes. He'll open up the opportunities for you to grow and move forward. I hope that's, yeah.
No, what's so unique about, just us as humans and in life in general is that we each have our own set of strengths and unique things that we can reach, to pull to use, to conquer those goals, to conquer those things, to get past those mountains. And what I really admire about you right now is it is clear and evident that the level of spirituality is something and a tool that you use to get past things that you've experienced in your life. That's clear. That's absolutely clear. And I would encourage anyone to find whatever their unique strength is to press past anything that they're going through in their life. And I really admire, what do you say? What's the name of that? What you have that you use, that platform? What's the name of it again?
The series, the name of the series, I call it The Simplicity in Jesus to Christ.
Okay.
And we have about 12 to 15, and it grows. We talk about loss, pain, perseverance. I want to address all these topics with children and young adults because I think it's just at that time, we were in COVID. We have this humbling of the world going on right now in my mind. But that's nothing new. Plagues have always been, a part of human,
over the existence of time.
Right, it seems to be, right. So it's just our time. How do we deal with that? And I think tapping into your spirituality and understanding, what happens, how do you deal with these situations? How powerful is faith in your life? How powerful can faith be in your life to move you to the next level? Losing your oldest brother, thinking about all the circumstances and situations that, you dealt with as a kid. I said earlier, I wish we were a little bit closer, but our age differences just meant, this had us apart. My parents, I don't know how they did, I don't know if they planned it that way to have 3 boys 5 years apart. But, so we were all on our space. But now I encourage kids to, love your siblings, be with them, spend a lot of time with them, know what's going on with them, and do your best to try to uplift them.
Speaking of Uplift, Uplift Baltimore Incorporated. Could you tell us more about that organization that you're the founder?
Yes. Again, just, thinking about some situations I had, thinking about, the AAU journey I had with my daughter and all the kids that were involved. I said, when you look back at them all, and then just thinking about where I was as a young man, as a young kid, as a child, and the help and assistance I wish I had, the information I wish I had known. I said, I really want to wrap this into something, and a nonprofit organization is what it became. We're a community service organization. We provide wraparound services to youth and young adults up to the age of 26. And I say 26, I agree with President Obama's theory that you really don't start living until you're about 26. You need that time, to grow, to fail, to find out who you are, to mature, so having somebody in your corner per se, understanding, helping you or providing you with some things that you may need to get you to the, to live out your fullest potential, or at least just to get you off to a good start. You know what I mean? Just get you off to a good start. And, we were slated to provide tutorial services. I had a STEM-based summer camp based on robotics and faith this summer. Yeah. It was our first one we had at the church, and had 13 kids. Half of them were foster kids. So that was, dear to my heart. I didn't even realize that. But we had, we're planning to have a substance abuse and prevention program starting in October with Baltimore City kids. Baltimore City. I just partnered with the American Diabetes Association to talk about health and wellness. Obesity. Awesome. Obesity has been something that's plagued our community for years. Yes. And a lot of it's just, just information that they needed. Hey, it's good to eat soul food. You know what I mean? But, on the other side of it, it's also good to work out too. You know what I mean?
Come on. It is, but, there is a level in moderation of, and still taking care of our bodies and things, moving forward and things of that such. What do you find one of the most challenging things that you face just trying to do these things that you mentioned for the youth in the city of, Baltimore, which is in the past been well known for many challenges that I know that you're familiar with? What do you find challenging, as far as you try to press forward these resources for the kids or for the youth, actually? Yeah.
I just had a conversation with someone who has a similar nonprofit, and she's been in it for a little longer. And I told her, this is, kind of my startup dream here. And she was saying, there's a saturation of money there. But the issue and the challenge is getting the money to the right people through the right means, making the contacts and who, reaching those individuals to be able to say, hey, I have this service. I have this service, I want to help, and here's how I'm going to help. who should I talk to per se? That's been my challenge. And I know a lot of it's just kind of being new, and I'm grateful for platforms as this to be able to communicate that. But that's been the big challenge. I think the kids will come, if the opportunity is there, but is it sometimes getting through that red tape, breaking that barrier to say, hey, who is it that I need to talk to provide this great service that I have? And here are the results that I'm going to, provide you once, the services have been, or the courses or the training has been completed. Here's what you need to look forward to. Talking to her last night, she said, you don't see a lot of that. It's good to say you got a good idea, but following through is something that the city is looking forward to. So.
Absolutely. I mean, do you have any social media sites that anyone that they're interested with, someone just wanted to donate or give, or know some kids within the city that could participate? Where would they go to find out more information? Or
I have several. So the two main that I have a website, www.upliftbemore.org. That's where you can find. That's where all the information is on my partnership, the programs that we run. That's continue. That's a living thing. It's evolving. I'm adding services daily to that. Again, wraparound services, anything that these kids need to uplift them and get them where they want to go. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and I believe we just we're about to launch our Twitter handle as well. So the main, what I call the big four in social media, including the website. We're there, and people can always just shoot me an email at director@upliftingmore.org. I check that daily. So anyone that needs the help or want to donate or want to help and volunteer the organization, I gladly welcome them. Thank you for that.
Is there any way that someone can volunteer themselves, as in their expertise, to the organization?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as a part of the wraparound services, especially when we look for grants and funding, is bringing in those professionals. My board, I have a, director, I have a nurse, a registered nurse, I have a psychologist, I have a behavioral specialist, I have a high school administrators, so they help me deploy the programs. And, of course, our network, my good friend, I have many professionals, in STEM and tech, and healthcare that we would that I provide, that would be willing to provide services through the grants or whatever means we may have to the high school students or those that participate in the programs that we offer. So yes, certainly certified background check professionals.
Excellent. When you look at everything that I tend to feel that many times in life we need to pull from what we've been through in order to conquer what we're currently going through or what we're facing in front of us. Out of anything that you can think of in your past, that, and especially what you mentioned with the loss of your brother and things of that such, or any challenges with family, is there anything that you could take from that and share that you can use pressing forward?
Yeah, I mean, I've had challenges, even the relationship, with my children. I look at some of the deficiencies I had. You never get it right with you don't get a manual to be a parent. You don't get a manual. There's no book. It's just experiences. And even a conversation I had with my wife at the time is just understanding and being willing to learn. And accept who you are, where you are, and be willing to grow and be a person that's willing to provide what someone needs, as opposed to, setting expectations of what you think they should do or what they should be. So I hope that makes sense. And that's why I like Christ. I'm focusing on Christ. I'm growing. The simplicity in Christ is he did a tough, complex, grueling task, but he made it simple for everybody else. He said, listen, there is no greater, than I, and he gave up his life for us, so, we don't deserve that type. We just talked about grace and had a conversation with my minister about this idea of unmerited favor that we get from Jesus. When we don't get it right, we don't deserve it, but he gives us this opportunity to press forward. So that's what's been fueling me, that I didn't get some things right, these kids, you didn't get some things right. Your parents didn't get some things right. You know, there's situations that happen that just weren't right. Mm-hmm. But you have an opportunity within that situation.
There you go.
Be able to move forward and grow. And I'm a testimony. I'm a living testimony. I enjoy sharing that with people because I think, that's what they need to see. Transparency is what our children need. Transparency is what all people need. And they need you to be honest. They need you to be real. They need you to be raw, and they need you to form a relationship with them in order for you and yourself to grow. Yeah. That's a big lesson for me. Yes.
And I tell you, to piggyback off of that, we, and to all my listeners, followers, it is okay to move forward from mistakes. Do not hold it over your head and let it beat you down to where you feel that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough to press forward. Nah, that's not the case at all. That's not the case at all. As Brother Logan just said, listen, you have a wealth of knowledge pulled from the experiences that you've had in your life. There's this term that I created called encouragement for free. Out of anything that we may have talked about earlier in this episode, or something that you might have learned growing up, something you might live by, or just learn, or just took as your creed. What is something right now before the end of the show that you can provide to all of the listeners that's some encouragement for free that they can take with them and use to press forward?
Yeah. I would always tell you that every day is truly a blessing. And the good days, cherish them. But the bad days, just remember there are opportunities for you to grow and move forward and come back even better. It's in the book of James, I believe 1 verses 2 through 4. And where he said, consider your trials as opportunities, because they're making you a better person. You're striving for perfection, not perfection because you're always right, but perfection in the sense is that you're a fragmented person. You have things that are not, good about you per se, but you have the opportunity to fix those things. And that's perfection when you recognize that. And you can consider it joy when you overcome those things. It happened. And guess what? It happened. But now you have an opportunity to move forward and be a better person. That's the message that I want to give everyone. I think that's the message that we need today, our youth need today, you and I need today. And that's the true uplift I want to provide to everyone I come in contact.
Listen. Brother Nathaniel Logan, I want to first and foremost thank you for taking out time today to provide that encouragement for some people that are going to use that and hone that and press forward. Really appreciate you taking that time. I don't take it for granted. I'm grateful and thankful. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we end this episode?
Well, yeah. First of all, I want to say thank you, Brother Wood. This is a tremendous opportunity. Appreciate this platform. To all the listeners out here, this is phenomenal. Continue to support this brother, man. He really, really does a good job of uplifting. Those that are really trying to share and provide services, love, just encouragement, as you could say, to make us a better people. We're not perfect. But in Christ, we can strive for perfection. So I just want to thank you again. My website is www.upliftbemore.org. And I'm on social media. Just search for Uplift Baltimore. It'll come up. And I just thank you for this time. And I want everybody to, just stay blessed, stay encouraged, and always know we're going to get through this.
As I've told you before, I'll tell you again. Sometimes in life, you must fail in order to succeed. Mm-hmm. But one thing must remain certain and consistent, that under any circumstances, you ever give up. I am Trying for Moments with T.Wood, and I was here with my brother Nathaniel Logan. Thank y'all.